Welcome everyone to the Inland Sports Show. Before we start the show, make sure you like this video and you've subscribed to the Inland Sports Show YouTube channel. And if you're a local business or organization and you'd like to promote yourself on this show, just send us an email, inlandsportsshow@gmail.com. The show starts right now. Garcia's left footed. And what is up? Welcome to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. I am your host, Pep Fernandez, here live and amplified at Team Vision TV 16. Johnny Nunez, the director behind the scenes here, making it all happen. And we've got a great show for you tonight. We'll talk a little wrestling, boys and girls, with Paloma Valley head coach Luis Robles. We're going to talk some boys basketball with Hillcrest head coach Jackson Wood. Trojans off to another great season, trying to win another River Valley League championship. But we talk a lot of football and football on this show. We're talking some soccer right now with the head coach for the Citrus Hill boys, Aram Najar. And Coach Najar, man, listen, you guys are having another great season. I know that expectation is really big at Citrus Hill based on all the past success that you guys have had. Talk about this year as a whole so far. I know you've played some good teams. You've had some battles with Arlington a couple times. What have you guys done well early on in the season as we really get into the meat of league play now?
Well, first off, Pep, thank you for having me on the show. Once again, I really do appreciate it. Yeah, man, it's been a really tough season so far, you know, and it's really helping us for the upcoming challenges in league and also in CIF. I mean, what's helping us is really we returned a lot of starters from last year. You know, that's what really helped us. Pretty much our core is coming back. I came back from last year. Obviously that helps us a lot with the results that we've been having. I mean, we did 2 tournaments, Citrus Hill Classic and then the Silver Lakes Classic we played awesome teams, and obviously we played Arlington twice. I mean, they have a great program out there with Kevin Watson out there. It was 2 awesome battles. We learned a lot though. We just can't wait to the CIF run that we can make. But first off, we want to win league, and that's always the primary goal.
You know, Coach, as we talk CIF, you know, you guys went to the semifinals in Division 4 last year, and in fact, I just had the CIF Southern Section weekly rankings pulled up on my laptop because I know you guys are that Division 1-2, you know, rankings. So right now, I mean, based on the rankings, you know, the Southern Section thinks you guys are at least the 12th best team in the entire Southern Section, you know, based on this week's rankings. You know, obviously, the other coaches and other folks out there think very highly of Citrus Hill, but it sounds like maybe the Hawks can be even better this season.
Yeah, man. I mean, ever since we took over the program, myself and the coaching staff, that was our primary goal, to be honest with you, is to put Citrus Hill on the map, just all in an Inland Empire, you know, just to make not just Citrus Hill, but it's really good to see the other Inland Empire in the Division 1, Division 2 polls. And I mean, it's honestly, it's humbling for other coaches. I mean, the CIF section to rank us at 12. I mean, obviously there's some great teams, and we know what's ahead of us. We got a lot of work to do, and we're just looking forward to the challenges. And I can't wait to get started and see where we end up. You know, hopefully we get the chance to participate in that Division 1 playoff. I mean, I think it'll be an awesome experience for the boys. I mean, you see the lineup in those 16 schools. I mean, it's no joke. I mean, we're talking about Orange County schools where, you know, we really don't see them often. You know, and it's good to see a lot of Inland Empire schools out here, and hopefully we can make some noise because there's a lot of talent out here, you know, and hopefully we could go far in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great run last year, in Division 4 to get to the semis. Let's rewind just a little bit, Coach. In the offseason, when they released the divisions, the playoff divisions for this season, and you saw Citrus Hill was in that Division 1 or Division 2, what were you thinking? Obviously, that shows a great sign of respect, right? What they think of the Citrus Hill program. But were you also thinking, oh man, this is going to be even tougher? But maybe this is what we want. We want to play the best.
Yeah, I was honestly, when I saw it, it was in the morning. I know I woke up and I saw it. It was a shock, to be honest with you. I didn't expect that. I expected possibly, Division 3. We've been, we made the finals 2 years ago, semifinals. I was thinking possibly Division 3. But when I saw Division 1, Division 2, man, it was humbling. It was awesome. And what it was even better is when I told our team. When I told our team, man, they were just so excited. The school, when the school kind of found out, I mean, they backed us up on it, and it's pretty awesome, man, to be part of those top schools, to be respected. It was one of the top schools, and not only in Inland Empire, but in all Southern section. It's good, but that just means that we got to work a little bit harder. We got to keep going. We got to stay consistent. That's the biggest thing, to stay in those divisions. So we got just a lot of work to do. It's humbling, but we got a lot of work to do.
Coach, you mentioned you got a lot of guys coming back from that team that went to the D4 semis. I don't know what your message is to them this year, but is it almost that, hey, whatever we did last year, it was not good enough. Like, we're stepping it up now. We're going from Division 4 to either Division 1 or 2, and whatever we did last year, we got to take that to the next level. What has been the message this year? I know you're trying to win a Mountain Pass League title too, but when you look beyond to the playoffs, I mean, how do you get your guys motivated to maybe, crank it up a level?
Yeah, I mean, it starts in training. It's creating those right habits. It's staying consistent. These Mountain Pass League. Our goal is to win the Mountain Pass League, and that's always. We can't look over that. We got to take advantage. We got to take one game at a time, and we just got to create the right habits. We got to stay hungry. We got to just be ready to go. And obviously, it's funny that you brought that up. I was talking to the guys that it's gonna start tough since round 1. Round 1, it might be round of 16. It's not like in Division 4 where maybe you get a wild card winner, and maybe we could get by that pretty. You would get by that one, but it's gonna be tough right off the bat. So we just got to create the right habits starting now. We've been playing great opponents, so that was good for us. We played a lot of Division 1 opponents already. Arlington twice. We played a good King team, Valley View. Eleanor Roosevelt. We just played a lot of good schools. Rev, they're Division 3, but they're a great team. So that helped us a lot. So it's just creating those right habits, and so that's what we're trying to work on.
So, Coach, as we look at the Mountain Pass League, you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, you've won 3 consecutive Mountain Pass League championships. I think you went 8-0, then 8-0, and then the season before that, I think it was like 7-2-1 or something like that. But you guys have won 3 straight consecutive league championships and 18 straight league games, if my math is right. I'm trying to do math in my head. So obviously, you guys take a lot of pride in first things first, winning the Mountain Pass League and continuing your dominance there. So is the team, like you said, taking it just game by game and making sure you can hang another league title banner before you guys even think about, the CIF playoff push and what division you might be in and, trying to make it to a championship game?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And that when we have our preseason meetings, our first goal, what we write on the board is winning the MPL. That is our focus. Everything else, obviously there's some, winning the tournaments, Citrus Hill tournament, the Silver Lakes, the CIF, but winning the MPL is our main goal, and we don't take our opponents lightly. We show them respect by playing our hardest, and that's what I always tell the boys. Obviously, it's easy to kind of look ahead, but we always try to respect our opponents by giving it our all, and don't take them lightly. And so far, the last 2 games, we've been doing that. We've been scoring the ball. Quite often we scored, 7-1 was a good result for us. I don't like the 1 goals against. That's what we've been trying to work on this week. We've been getting scored on a little too much that I prefer. But yeah, we just, we got Talkwitz tomorrow. We got West Valley, so we got to take care of business this week.
Well, Coach, real quick, I know you got a meeting coming up, but just do some name dropping really quick. Who are the guys really standing out for the Hawks this season so far?
Man, I got to start with Jose De La Torre. You know, this kid has 26 goals in 16 games. You know, that's something special. The kid is a really special talent. You know, he's a junior. He was so dominant last year, but obviously we had Manuel Talavera last year where he got all the attention. You know, and now that Talavera is gone, I mean, he's been taking that role. I mean, he's a center mid, but he's been just so dynamic. So such a great player. One of the best players that I've seen. One of the best players in the area. So a lot of respect for Jose. And obviously, you know, we got another senior captain, Freddie Jaimes, has been really, really big for us as well. But that's just to name a few. You know, we have a lot of great players. And yeah, man, it's a team thing. And I mean, they're just helping us get the dub, the wins. And yeah, those are just two players that have been really standing out this season.
Well, Coach, listen, I always appreciate the time. Hopefully we can do this again down the road after you guys maybe win a league title and maybe make a deep run in CIF. I think you got, like you said, a good group coming back that had success last year. So I think things are looking really good for the Hawks right now.
Yeah, man, that's the goal. Hopefully we can make a run at it. Once again, I appreciate you having me, Pep. I love what you do, and I'm a big fan. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. And I know as the head coach, man, you got a lot on your plate, including, you know, team meetings and talking to parents and all that stuff. So we're going to let you go, but I do appreciate the time. Best of luck the rest of the week.
Thank you, Pep. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You got it, Coach. Coach Najar, Citrus Hill Boys Soccer here on the Inland Sports Show. Thank you so much, Coach. That'll take us into our first commercial break of the night. When we come back, we're going to hit the wrestling mat with Paloma Valley head coach Luis Robles. That is next on the Inland Sports Show.
Hey guys, this is Jason at Ken Sporting Goods. We're almost to 1,000 Instagram followers. Tell your friends, like us, come down, see us. Thank you so much for your loyalty.
What up, y'all? It's Boost Man here at the Boost Performance Center with my guy, Pep Fernandez. We got a training tip for you. Football season is coming to an end. Time to get ready for the off-season work. And, of course, you got to brush up on your 40-yard dash start. So this training tip is going to be a little bit more specific to football players. I love this drill. I've coached a couple top performers in a regional football camp, and I love it because it's all about technique. So come check it out. So I'm with my man Frog here. He's going to help us break it down really quick. He's going to take it, first off, he likes to have his left foot up in his 40-yard dash start. So he's going to take his left toe and bring it to his right heel. Then he's going to bring his right foot right next to his left foot. Nice. Now we're going to find the width. That width is usually going to be hip width, but just for, you know, a standard width, it's going to be the width of your foot. So he's going to bring that right heel, and he's going to open it up, and it's going to be perpendicular. His right foot's going to be perpendicular to his left. There we go. Then he's going to turn that foot again, so both toes are pointing forward, and now we have our width, which is the width of his foot, okay? Now he's going to back that right foot up about 4 to 6 inches. Nice. So we got a little bit of depth here. Okay, so next, he's going to go ahead and he's going to bring his hips down. He's going to have his right hand behind the line, and he's going to have his left hand above the line. Okay, now, if you take a look at him now, he's going to lean forward a little bit. Lean forward, Frog. Good. He's going to have his chin to his chest. Now, I'm going to have Frog hold the position for a little bit so you guys can see it, but typically, from the moment you start to raise your hips, the moment you start to raise, it's a 3 count. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and then we take off. But because I want to break this down for you guys, I'm going to have him hold position a little bit, which is tough because you want to have all your momentum going forward. So, Frog, I want you to go ahead and raise those hips, keeping your chin nice and low. Get that arm up. Okay, so a couple things I want to focus on here. He's going to raise his back arm. Okay, so how do you know if your hips are high enough? Number one, your back shin should be at a 45-degree angle. There should be a sliver of space between that back knee and that front calf. And how do we know if we're getting enough forward lean? He's going to lean forward enough to where he's got a nice bend in this front ankle here. So he's got to have a high level of dorsiflexion. That knee's got to be over that toe. Raise the hips a little bit higher. You can see Frog starting to fatigue here a little bit. It is tough to hold the position. Get your hips up a little bit higher. He wants to get that back shin to 45 degrees. Knees over the toes, and he has to hold that position. Go ahead and relax. All right, so it's actually a very tough position to hold. I'm gonna have Frog start naturally. He's gonna start from the top. All right, Frog, you're gonna get in that position. You're gonna give me that 3-second 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. You're gonna take off. All right, so he's getting his depth from the line. He's getting his width. Backing that back foot up 4 to 6 inches. Crouching down, right hand's behind the line. Go ahead and move that right hand up a little bit more, Frog. Left hand's above. He's gonna drop that chin, very nice. Leaning for 1,000, 2, 1,000. So there you have it, the 40-yard dash start. There's a lot of technique that goes into this start. If you don't do it well, it can definitely hinder your 40-yard dash time. And if you do it well, it can make a huge difference. We work these in the off season at the Boost Performance Center. If you don't know, now you know. Boost Man.
San Bernardino has implemented a new low-cost sidewalk vending program in hopes of expanding opportunity for community members to start sidewalk vending safely and lawfully. We want everyone to have access to the economic benefits that sidewalk vending brings, but we want to make sure that our sidewalk vendors know the do's and don'ts when it comes to our city. We must make sure that vendors are keeping our residents safe by following general health and safety standards, and by following all city rules. Like, did you know to legally sidewalk vend in the city of San Bernardino, you'll need a seller's permit? What about the $1 million general liability insurance that you are required to have? Don't let this scare you. When all is said and done, the cost of the annual permit will either be $64 or $154. We want to help in every way we can when it comes to vendors lawfully running and growing their small businesses. But those who operate without the proper permits can and will be cited. Citations can run anywhere from 100 to a misdemeanor, and repeated violations can result in the confiscation of items needed to sidewalk vend. We do not want this to be you. So, if you have any questions or concerns regarding the new sidewalk vending program, please call us at 909-384-5035, where staff will help you navigate your way to becoming a safe and permitted vendor in our city.
Elects to move, passes to Mendoza, shooting an NBA three in. Mendoza. 6 Division I players, so this is a program. And speaking of a player who came from a Division I program, Sebastian Mendoza sinking that one. Gray, good bounce pass in and a dunk. Who plus the harm? Chester McCoy jamming that one in and miss offensive rebound and another dunk. Chester McCoy gets that one to go. Barely had to jump off of his feet, but hey, when you're 7 feet tall, you don't really have to jump too high to reach the top of the rim. 8 minutes. Ball coming back. McCoy again. Emphatic jam, the tongue out and everything. Bradford Evans on the call here from beautiful San Bernardino, California on a almost mid-January day. A dunk coming from Daniels. So Daniels, the little guy, can get up a little bit too.
And some highlights from that big win for SBVC against MSJC. That was for first place in the Inland Empire Athletic Conference. Bradford Evans on the call on IEMG. Now let's talk some high school wrestling. And the Paloma Valley Wildcats are literally all over the place and doing very well. Join us here on the show, the head coach, Luis Robles. And coach, listen, I love wrestling as much as the next guy. And I know right now Paloma Valley is really finding its spot on the wrestling mat and the map. I think a lot of people are now getting familiar with Paloma Valley and the success that you guys are having for boys and girls. Do you feel like when you go to some of these tournaments, people are saying, oh yeah, we've heard about Paloma Valley. We know about you guys.
100% that's happening. But the funny part is the first question I always get is, where is Paloma Valley? And then I tell them Menifee and they're like, okay, where's Menifee?
Well, you know, Temecula Valley's had a ton of success. You just say like near Temecula, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yes and no, and that's one of my goals is I don't want to have to keep saying that because I do immediately go, you've heard of Temecula, right? And everybody in wrestling shakes their head, yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, we're just a few minutes north of them. And then I'm like, yeah, and please don't ask me that again.
Well, Coach, you guys are doing some big things. You've been doing some big things for a while, the boys and the girls at Paloma Valley. You know, this past weekend, you guys went to two prestigious tournaments. The boys were up at the Doc Buchanan in Clovis, and you took a group of girls up to a big tournament up in Napa. When you create the schedule, you want your grapplers, you want your wrestlers to see some really good competition, especially if they've got aspirations of maybe bringing home a CIF state title. You know, by design, how do you create the schedule so your teams can see some really good competition throughout the season?
I mean, we look at it and we want a variety of competition, right? We don't grind our kids down, so it's not tough competition from beginning to end. We kind of stagger it. So usually, you know, we try to have one lower tier tournament, a bunch of just moderately tough tournament with all the area toughness. And we try to, as best as we can, do one out of area one. With the Doc B one, it's always hard because you have to literally be accepted into it and your kids have to meet qualifications. I mean, sometimes they make some wiggle room if you're in the range, which they did for a few of our kids, but you can't just sign up and pay for Doc B. Like, you don't just go, I want to go, and you're in, and every single kid you want to take is in. So, you know, in the past, I have to find other tournaments. Luckily, not counting the COVID shutdown year, we've been able to go to Doc B. Last year, we were shut down individually as a group. But before that, we've taken a couple kids to Doc B, and then this year, Doc B. The girls, it's been hard, and also lucky that Queen of the Hills usually one of the tougher tournaments, and we still attended that one. But I still wanted one out-of-area tournament, especially because I have two returning state placers, so they could get used to the state meet, right? Get away from home, be uncomfortable, have to find somewhere to work out. You know, and it definitely was that. I mean, we were in an area, we basically went from an area where our girls know everybody and I know every coach to maybe we knew like 1% of the gym. Like, we didn't know anybody there.
And like you said, it's good to be in that situation. It's good to be a little uncomfortable and go up against wrestlers you've never heard of and schools you've never heard of, and you know, and just lay it out all on the mat. For the boys, at least, you go to the Doc B, like you mentioned. Is that as close to a state preview as you guys will probably see this season before you get to maybe, I don't know, like the Masters meet in the Southern section?
I mean, any of my kids that are going to be blessed and have earned a chance to get to the state meet, Doc B was tougher than the state meet. I know some people will argue it. This was the toughest Doc B probably they've ever had. And I want to say they said it was 25 states were represented.
Oh my God.
So there were guys that were ranked in the top 5 in the state that lost early in the tournament. So this tournament was tougher than state. So I don't even know how to compare it because we don't go to national level tournaments. There's no sanctioned national events. I mean, there's some off-season stuff, USA Wrestling stuff, but this was tougher than the California State meet. So it definitely will prepare us to, number one, qualify, because the Southern section is what wrestling coaches call the meat grinder. So we need it just to learn how to qualify for state. And then when we get there, we'll be ready. I think we'll be ready after going to Doc B.
You know, the success you've had for the boys and the girls at the CIF Southern section level, does that kind of change the mindset and the goals going into this year in terms of, you know, we've been here, Let's try to get back there individually. Let's see what you guys can do. If you can get to Bakersfield and place and get on that podium. Does the mindset, the goals change this year? Does it feel a little different?
I mean, to be honest, no, just because ever since I started here, that's always what we talk about. We say everything is about league, CIF, Master State. Everything else is just practice towards it. Obviously, it's part of your record. It matters. But we work, kind of like the March Madness mentality. Like for us, it's all about February. It used to be March, but now it ends a little bit before March 1st. So for us, we're literally only working for that. It's just become more real now. When I first got here, we actually were, the first year I was here, we sent the kid to state. And then we had a drought of, I want to say, almost 4 or 5 years. And now we've been there regularly. So now it is a little more expected, but we never take it for granted because we are in such a tough section. So it doesn't change. We really have always set that goal. I would just say our kids are earning that goal a lot more often now.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, not to bring up Temecula again, but I'm going to bring up Temecula again. I think the boys are down there this weekend, right, on Saturday?
Yep. Yeah, we are at Battle for the Belt at Temecula. It's fine. I love, Alpert and Campbell retired from full-time roles. Campbell's still down there. Their coach that took over, DeCaro, he's a great guy. I remember him when I used to coach at Paris. He was a wrestler at Temecula. So, I love them. Hence why we're going to the tournament. They put on a good tournament, and they put on great competition, and they're good buddies of mine, and I enjoy seeing them. So, yeah, we'll be at Battle for the Belt this weekend with the boys Friday and Saturday.
Coach, does it feel like once you get into the new year, like once you get past Christmas and the new year starts, like the wrestling season, it just accelerates? Like all of a sudden, like it's going to be February and you're already thinking about, like you said, Masters and, who might be a state qualifier. Like, does it feel like you guys just step on the gas here in January?
100%. We literally just had a practice where I had to remind the kids, like, there's not much time left. And the one thing about wrestling that, can be hard on kids, but I think I love is it's a unique timeline, right? When you coach football and everything, everybody's season ends at the exact same time. But when you're talking about wrestling, some of my kids' seasons are going to end next Friday when we wrestle our last league meet. For others, it'll be CIF duels. It might be league finals. We hope not. We're going to have a goal to qualify everybody through league. But it kind of dwindles down, right? Everybody's season slowly starts ending. And I had to remind them of that because sometimes these kids, take it for granted. And I had to remind them of what the timeline is. And it is definitely time right now. Like it's, for some kids, their season's ending in 2 weeks. For some of them, 4 weeks. I want to say states in about 5 to 6 weeks.
And Coach, with the boys and the girls, how do you manage, it's a long season, it's a grueling season. For you guys, there's a lot of travel involved as well. How do you feel like you're still getting them better and getting them ready for, the CIF Southern Section, championship run and the Masters and state, but with not running them into the ground? I think you already mentioned it too. Like, how do you kind of negotiate that, wanting them to continue to improve and get better, but still not wearing them out because it is a long season?
I think the biggest part with coaching is adjusting, having a plan and adjusting. We have a plan where we actually make practices shorter as the year goes on. When we started, especially with the whole, school starting later change, we were running practice till 6:30, sometimes 6:45. Our goal now is to be out of the room by 6 o'clock on most days. On some days, I'll tell them up front, like, hey, Thursday we're getting out, at 5:30. So we're shortening practices up. But it doesn't necessarily mean easier. I tell the kids all the time, shorter practice does not always mean easier. It's just we have everything we need in. So, we're just kind of running through everything we need, getting what we need, and getting out, getting the rest in recovery. So a lot of it's adapting. We adapt every day. I always tell the coaches, read the room, because there's times I can't be at practice. I might have to go to a seating meeting or whatever. And I tell the coaches, hey, if you got practice today, read the room, because they'll ask me, okay, what do you want today? I'm like, I want this, this, and this. Or I'll just tell them, because a lot of my coaches are very good. I just tell them, you got today, just make sure you read the room, So we kind of take it day by day, week by week. But we do have a master plan, and the master plan is start with long practices and then shorten them up as the year progresses.
Taper them off. That sounds like a great plan. That's why you're the head coach, and you're a very smart man. That is Luis Robles, the head wrestling coach at Paloma Valley, and also rejoining that football team at Paloma Valley as well as my boy, Coach Morita. So, Coach Robles, really appreciate the time. If you guys win CIF, you got state qualifiers, man. I'd love to have you guys in studio, and let's do this again.
Oh, I'll be back for sure. We're hoping to win the CIF title on boys and girls this year.
That is awesome. Coach Robles, really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right, that's Luis Robles from Paloma Valley here on the Inland Sports Show. Let's take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to hoop it up with Hillcrest head coach Jackson Wood. We'll be back.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Boostman here with a quick 2 cent. Competition is a vital part of athletic development. Not just learning how to compete, but how to compete to win. It's a skill that needs to be practiced habitually in the off season. See, it's not just about getting stronger. It's not just about getting faster. It's about drive. What pushes an athlete to give their best every single rep? Never just train to compete. Boostman.
San Bernardino has implemented a new low-cost sidewalk vending program in hopes of expanding opportunity for community members to start sidewalk vending safely and lawfully. We want everyone to have access to the economic benefits that sidewalk vending brings, but we want to make sure that our sidewalk vendors know the do's and don'ts when it comes to our city. We must make sure that vendors are keeping our residents safe by following general health and safety standards, and by following all city rules. Like, did you know to legally sidewalk vend in the city of San Bernardino, you'll need a seller's permit? What about the $1 million general liability insurance that you are required to have? Don't let this scare you. When all is said and done, the cost of the annual permit will either be $64 or $154. We want to help in every way we can when it comes to vendors lawfully running and growing their small businesses. But those who operate without the proper permits can and will be cited. Citations can run anywhere from 100 to a misdemeanor, and repeated violations can result in the confiscation of items needed to sidewalk vend. We do not want this to be you. So if you have any questions or concerns regarding the new sidewalk vending program, please call us at 909-384-5035, where staff will help you navigate your way to becoming a safe and permitted vendor in our city.
CBU basketball is the most exciting sports experience in the Inland Empire and the best value in Southern California. See every dunk, every magic play, and every win. Inside the beautiful CBU Event Center, Southern California's newest NCAA Division I arena.
Big game. Lancers trying to close this one out. Coming down the home stretch, up by 11. Pass over to Washington. Goes inside, and two more for the Altura Credit Union player of the game, Mr. That was Scotty Washington and CBU picking up that big win against Utah Tech. Then they went on the road, beat New Mexico State. They will be home Wednesday night against Utah Valley, and then Saturday, that is the big one, taking on Grand Canyon University, their big-time rival, the Lopes. I hope you'll join me on ESPN Plus for those big-time CBU games coming up. Speaking of big-time, we got Hillcrest head basketball coach Jackson Wood joining us here on the Inland Sports Show. Always love hooping it up with this guy. And Coach Wood, listen, I wanted to bring you on because you guys are having another great season for Hillcrest. I know you've played some really good teams in non-league play, so people might look at the record and be like, oh, what's going on with Hillcrest? But you played some really good teams. But what I wanted to ask you first was, so we were at SBVC watching Sebastian Mendoza, one of your former players, and I saw Dennis Evans out there too, and I'm like, you know what? I think these guys at Hillcrest actually like each other. Even when they're done playing on the same team, they're still hanging out with each other. They're still rooting each other on. How important is it that just make sure your guys get along and that they genuinely click on the floor and off the floor?
It definitely makes a difference, and I think that was one of the biggest factors into our CIF championship run in 2018 was just how close-knit the group was and how well they got along off the court. So we try to facilitate that any way we can, going to watch local college basketball games. CBU versus UCR is always a fun one, and San Bernardino Valley, all our local colleges and college coaches do a great job. So it's awesome to get out and watch them and do other sort of team bonding events.
All right, Coach, let's talk about this season. You guys are trying to win another River Valley League championship. If you win it this year, it'd be 6 in a row for the Trojans. And, you know, we were texting a little bit back and forth about this stretch that you guys have had the last 5-6 years. At least during that championship stretch, 49-1 in, you know, that River Valley League, 5 straight titles. Man, what do you think is the key ingredient to just having that stable success from year to year? I know you've had great, you know, players come through the program, but they come and go. And how do you keep that level of play at a place where you want it and you can win league titles?
Yeah, honestly, you stole my answer. It's first and foremost the players, and we've been blessed here at Hillcrest. We're in a good area that gets kids, and we're to the point now where kids want to come here. So we're a program, a true program, and we try to win year in and year out. But it wasn't always this easy. When we started out, we couldn't beat La Sierra, and they had won it, you know, 5 years in a row, I believe. And the last year that we failed to beat them, you know, I was like, man, we're better than these guys, but we just had to kind of overcome that mental hurdle. And once we did, there was no looking back, and now we're in that spot, and I'm sure other teams feel that same way about us, and we have to be on guard. We lost to Arlington, and that's our biggest competition this year in and year out. They've been really tough. Coach French does a great job and has kind of taken the program right after Seidel and kind of carried on the same path while still putting his own touches on it. So they're going to be tough. We got them next Wednesday at their place, and I'm not taking them lightly.
That's my next question as a perfect segue, is that one team during that 49-1 stretch, that one team to beat you guys was Arlington. They were pretty good last year, and it looks like they might be, safe to say, your stiffest competition in terms of trying to win another River Valley League title?
Yeah, they've also played a really tough schedule, so they're not going to be scared of us. Their record is also deceiving. They, you know, just lost to King by 6, and we're up double digits on Linfield Christian, and I'm not taking them lightly. The problem is just trying to convince my guys. So the first one at their place, I don't think they believe me, and that's always the toughest spot, at their place. And is, you know, just had a similar feeling that same year that we lost to them. It was at their place the first time, and I'm on guard, and I'm going to try my best to get the guys prepared. And I think we'll be prepared, and we'll be ready to play for sure.
Now, Coach, obviously you have one of the best big men in the entire country, Dennis Evans. You guys have been in studio, and I really appreciate that. And I want to talk about Dennis in a moment. But Mikhail Shedrick, I mean, the guy's only a sophomore. The guy can score the basketball. I feel like you always seem to have like a great senior and then like a player that's coming up. You know what I mean? Like someone you can build the program on in the next year or two, even after Dennis leaves. Is Mikhail? Am I overstating this when I say Mikhail's another big time player coming up?
No, I don't think so. He still has some work to do and still has a long way to go, but I definitely see him, you know, playing at the next level. And it's funny, I've used that kind of same parallel this year, and even going back to last year and in the offseason. In 2018, when we won, you know, we had Victor Ohia Obioha, who was a 6'9" big man that nobody else in the division had. And then we had a sophomore leading scorer in Sebastian Mendoza. So this year it's Dennis and Mikhail, and we're in a little bit tougher of a division, but I really see the parallels there. And I'm just trying to get Mikhail to do a little bit more on the defensive end, and he's making strides. We beat Maranatha, who was ranked 3rd in our division, on Saturday, and you know, he got compliments on his defense after the game, and I heard him talking about it at practice. And just hearing him excited about defense was a great feeling as a coach. So as long as he buys in on that end, his offensive game is crafty and shifty and hard to guard, lefty, you know. So he's fun to watch on the offensive end, and I think he's going to continue to grow physically and get better on the defensive end as well.
Now, as well known and talented as Dennis Evans is, your 7-footer, your big man, has he actually gotten better since the last time we've spoken?
Definitely, he's always getting better. He is our leading shooter from the 3-point line. It's a small sample size, but he's 6 out of 16. So he's getting better on his shooting. He's getting better as a leader, and it's just a pleasure to be around. I'm spoiled. But he's a great kid, and yeah, constantly getting better. He's a workaholic, Mr. 5 a.m. He's up in the morning and he's working out.
Coach, as obviously a big battle with Arlington coming up next week, and I know River Valley League Championship is important to you guys. You don't want to be the team not to win a league championship, but also when you look further down the road, you're hoping maybe to have some close games. I know you played some Maranatha, you played some good teams in non-league to kind of maybe get battle tested, be ready for some of these teams and situations you might see in the playoffs. Is it fair to say that, it doesn't matter if you're 16-0 or 8-9, like you want to be in some battles so you are ready and not caught off guard when you have to go on the road in the playoffs and play a really good team?
Yeah, these last 2 years, I've put together pretty much the toughest schedule I could possibly. And last year we had a really tough stretch where we lost 7 games in a row. And this year it was only 5, and they were all pretty close. We had an early morning game against Aquinas that we weren't ready to play. But other than that, we lost a bunch of really close games to really good teams like Roosevelt, St. Francis, Crean Lutheran. And we go back and we look at them and we talk about them, and things I've said in the past are, you're just not going to automatically, okay, we were in some close games, so now we start winning them all of a sudden. We have to make some adjustments and we have to learn. And that's what the preseason and the exhibition stuff's all about. League, we got to take care of business. And then by that point, we get to the playoffs and we're battle tested and we're not scared of anybody. We're prepared for a lot of situations because we've been in those situations. We went to Vegas together and we played teams from Florida, from Utah, and we won a game at the buzzer. Mikkel Shedrick hit a step back 3. And it's just those moments that are going to prepare us for the playoffs. And again, we're in a really tough division, but we got something that nobody else has, and we got a real shot to win it.
Yeah, I think some teams, maybe they want to look good and be like 16-1, but they haven't really played anybody. They haven't gone on the road or anything, and then, they get caught off guard in the playoffs. I think maybe it's a disservice to their team not to go out there and play really good teams. But, Coach, you brought up the division. I have it pulled up right now. This is the CIF Southern Section rankings for this week. They have Hillcrest in at number 9, Division III AA. They have Hillcrest in at number 9. Where do you fall on this side of the fence in terms of, looking ahead at the other teams in your division? Do you think, it's a wise thing to keep an eye on those other schools that are ranked around you or ahead of you? Or is it kind of dangerous in terms of, hey, we got to worry about River Valley League play before we even think about 3AA? I mean, where do you kind of fall? Or are you somewhere in the middle maybe?
I'd say somewhere in the middle because, one of the benefits of being in the River Valley is, we're able to go put out that tough schedule and go to war, because not that league is a guaranteed thing, but top 3 is a pretty safe bet. So we're pretty much, guaranteed a playoff spot. And at that point with the playoffs, it just comes down to, you got to be able to go on the road. It's not the top seed gets home court throughout. So there's really not too much emphasis on the rankings unless you're getting a bye as a top 2 seed or you're trying to get an at-large bid. So I don't care too much about the rankings, but at the same time, as a voting member of SCIF-SS, I try to pay attention here and there just to be informed. And it's tough, man. There's a lot of good teams and everybody's playing in tournaments and you're trying to keep up with scores and common opponents. Yeah. And it's tough, but it's fun. Just got to find some time for Sundays on that.
It's funny, Coach, is I look at some of these divisions and you can kind of pick out the Inland Empire schools. Like, some divisions have 3, 4, 5, 6 schools. I'm looking at Division III AA. I think whoever you play in the playoffs, you're going to have a road trip at some point because there's no close schools like up in the valley, Ventura, deep in Orange County. Like, I think regardless of what happens in the playoffs, like you talked about, just being ready to go on the road and maybe some, tough situations and tough places to play. It looks like regardless of what happens, you guys might be making a road trip at some point.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I've learned from my assistant, Cedric Wells, and then talking to some of the members in our division, CIF definitely does do the home local matchup for the first round.
Yeah.
So, we're looking at Rev and Citrus Valley, who we played this year, Hesperia and Palm Springs. I think those are the closest kind of local Far East, if you will, CIF teams in our division. So we're definitely kind of anticipating a local matchup in the first round, and then it's coin flips and road trips after that. And we've done it before, and I'm trying to get these guys ready for it again. So it's exciting. It's a fun time. And, it's a 3-week battle going out trying to win 5 games in a row.
It's our own little slice of, March Madness. You win, you advance, you lose, you go home. How do you mentally prepare your guys for something like that? Maybe it's something you've done the last several years. I think have you been at Hillcrest? Is it 10 years or almost 10 years now?
I believe this is the 9th year of varsity and my 10th year overall. The first year we had a JV team that I was there.
Oh my gosh. I mean, do you, has your approach changed in the last decade? Like in terms of, how do you get your team mentally prepared for the playoffs, to make that run, knowing it's win or go home? I hate to use that cliche, but has your approach changed, or has it always kind of been the same?
In that regard, it has been the same. The last couple of years I've ramped it up, but it's about the non-league schedule and trying to get some Saturday games in there throughout league. So we play in the State Preview Classic hosted by Coach Catani at Rolling Hills Prep and Coach DeFabius at Colony. That's coming up, and we play Campbell Hall, who's a great team. So it's mixing in those games like that to just stay prepared and to stay tested. And the year we won CIF, we went 32-4, and our schedule was too easy, and I kind of looked back and said I wasn't going to do that again. I wasn't going to put an easy schedule together when I knew we were going to be a good team. So these past 2 years, I knew we would be good. Things didn't work out the way we wanted last year. And that was another parallel to the team that won CIF. I mean, you kind of have to get there first. There's not too many teams who just win it on their first try. So we lost in the second round. Last year, we got a lot of the same guys back. Dennis, our senior point guard, Ruben Sevilla. And then we got a young core, like you mentioned, besides Mikkel Shedrick, we got Nate Bowden, Jacob Lillard, a lot of young guys, sophomore class that's going to be good too. So we're ready to go. The non-league schedule does that for us. And then just referencing back to situations that we've been in, like, close games that we've lost, when teams started pressing us, we just try to prepare for every situation and have something to be in place for each situation.
Well, Coach, listen, I really do appreciate the time. I'm glad you guys are having another great season, and I know you've, again, battle-tested. You played some really good teams in that non-league portion, and here we go deep into River Valley League play and playoffs right around the corner after that. Coach, best of luck in the playoffs. I know it's going to hopefully be a deep playoff run for you guys wherever you may end up. Like I said, you might get that home game in the first round, hopefully against a Rev or a Citrus Valley for my own selfish reasons, because I love those all IE matchups. But after that, there's some tough schools on there, and none of them are very close. So, Coach, listen.
Well, thanks, Pep. I appreciate you and all that you do. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, I appreciate it. That's Jackson Wood, the head basketball coach for the Hillcrest Trojans here on the Inland Sports Show. Thanks again, Coach. When we come back, we've got your Big Boost Play of the Week and your Kin Sporting Goods must-see game. That's next on the Inland Sports Show.
What up, guys? Boostman here at the Boost Performance Center. You're watching the Inland Sports Show with the one and only Pep Fernandez. What up, y'all? It's your boy Boostman, and I'm back with a quick 2 cents. To all you parents, kids need well-ran programs in order to get the most out of their athletic development. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't send your kid to a school that's disorganized with canceled classes, unknown schedules, or any other type of inconsistency. So why would you choose that for your child's athletic development? The organization that you choose for your child's athletic development should meet the same standards as your child's academic development. Your boy, Boostman.
I would say the one thing that we stress more than anything else is service to our customer. Make sure that they're taking care of whatever you can do to make sure that that order gets to them on time and it's the right quality and what they want. been that way since 1976. That was my goal, to reach out to local sports programs, and it's grown from there, and we've been very, very fortunate. My grandson is right over here. He's working for us, and he's going to college right now, and that's exactly what my son did 20-some years ago, and it keeps on going, you know. Customers that come in the store that it's amazing. People that I haven't been here since I was a little kid, and I used to come in here all the time, and then now I'm bringing my son in here, or a grandpa that's bringing his grandson in here that came in here when we first opened back in '76. We just feel so fortunate to have been a part of this community and this Inland Empire for going into our 44th year now, and it's just been a blessing.
San Bernardino has implemented a new low-cost sidewalk vending program in hopes of expanding opportunity for community members to start sidewalk vending safely and lawfully. We want everyone to have access to the economic benefits that sidewalk vending brings, but we want to make sure that our sidewalk vendors know the do's and don'ts when it comes to our city. We must make sure that vendors are keeping our residents safe by following general health and safety standards, and by following all city rules. Like, did you know to legally sidewalk vend in the city of San Bernardino, you'll need a seller's permit? What about the $1 million general liability insurance that you are required to have? Don't let this scare you. When all is said and done, the cost of the annual permit will either be $64 or $154. We want to help in every way we can when it comes to vendors lawfully running and growing their small businesses. But those who operate without the proper permits can and will be cited. Citations can run anywhere from 100 to a misdemeanor, and repeated violations can result in the confiscation of items needed to sidewalk vend. We do not want this to be you. So, if you have any questions or concerns regarding the new sidewalk vending program, please call us at 909-384-5035, where staff will help you navigate your way to becoming a safe and permitted vendor in our city.
And we needed a little help from the IE's own Jamal Williams. My goodness, he went from super emotional to straight up gangster in his end of the game interview. It was very funny, where he gave the tribute to his grandfather who passed away. And then it was like, don't let these tears fool you, right? Stop messing with us. Yeah. They thought the Packers were going to win. No.
Was that one of the best interviews? Like, when we think about these classic all-time interviews, I think Jamal Williams' post-game interview is going to be up there, man. Yeah, the pride of Summit High School, former Skyhawk. Oh, and we should mention too, Patrick, he passed the legend Barry Sanders, and my estimate, the best running back ever. He passed Barry Sanders with 17 single-season touchdowns. That's a new franchise record for the Detroit Lions, man. Our own Jamal Williams. Can you believe that? And the other one is the Vikings taking on the Giants. The Vikings will be home for that one. Our guy Alexander Madison, the pride of San Bernardino High School, scoring 2 touchdowns yesterday for Minnesota. So they're looking pretty good as they go into the postseason. I know when we talk about Super Bowl contenders, Patrick, we don't really talk about the Vikings too much, but I think we at least have to consider them right now. We love when our local guys from the IE are doing big things on the national stage, including the NFL, like Alexander Madison, the pride of Cardinal City with the Minnesota Vikings, had a couple touchdowns last weekend. And Jamal Williams from Summit High School giving an all-time interview after that big Detroit Lions win against Green Bay. That was classic. In fact, we posted that interview on the Inland Sports YouTube channel, so you can go check it out if you have not heard it yet. First, he tugs on your heartstrings, and then he goes like Patrick from K-Cal said, he goes gangsta on you. It was really good. All right, right now let's go to our big boost play of the week. Check out the highlight we caught on camera in this one. Bloomington taking on Arroyo Valley boys soccer. Bruins with the set piece, and it's going to be Carlos Montes de Oca. The rocket inside the near post. What a goal, and he celebrates by doing the worm. That is Carlos Montes de Oca. Let's take one more look. We're going to slow it down. The beauty of this shot. We just had the World Cup, and that's World Cup caliber. Shot by Carlos Montes de Oca of Bloomington. Bruins won 6-0. Big win for them. They are in first place right now in the highly competitive Sunkist League. And that is our big boost play of the week. So we go from soccer now. Let's talk a little basketball. We got a huge game on the hardwood this week. It's our Kin Sporting Goods must-see game. I have been waiting for this matchup all season long. We finally get it. The first of two in Ivy League play. It is the Rancho Verde Mustangs at home on Thursday night against the Rancho Christian Eagles. Of course, this has Ivy League title implications written all over it. And Riverside Poly's good. There's some other good teams in the Ivy League, but this really is the matchup between the Mustangs and the Eagles. They will play again down in Temecula. But, yeah, Rancho Verde, Rancho Christian, Kin Sporting Goods must-see game featuring two of the top teams in the Inland Empire and the Southern section for that matter. So it's going to be a fantastic game. All right, big thanks to our guest, Coach Najar from Citrus Hill Boys Soccer, Coach Robles, Paloma Valley Wrestling, and Coach Jackson Wood from Hillcrest Boys Basketball. Johnny Nunez behind the scenes here at T-Vision TV 16. My name is Pep Fernandez. We appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, of course, and we'll see you again next week on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show. Stay safe. God bless you.